plays. He's played it twice, but Shanks has played it five times. They picked it in the first rotation, so maybe not showing so much respect to Shanks' Orianna, and again, just taking something that would give you prio in the laning phase, and then playing that Tarzan Icon duo that has been working out so well.
Yeah, well, it's the same picks and bans so far in this one. You see the Thresh, the Talia. It was actually WE who banned the Thresh last game. I do apologize, but they also banned the Tristana. And then LNG banning away the Syndra, the Pantheon, and the Olaf. So curious to see if they will try and change anything else. But if you're going to lose to something different. Because if you lose to the same thing twice, you don't really learn anything in the second game.
Yeah, it's interesting if they do just go with the same first rotation of Xayah, Orianna. They could end up changing out their other picks, but maybe them going back to the drawing board and not feeling that execution was completely there. Again, maybe they stall out another Drake or two would have been different, but even something we highlighted in last draft that could have been pulled out was the Renekton Italy combo. It was already there available in draft. They opted not to go for it, but apparently they still don't want to go for that. They are going to change it up at least and take the Gnar blind.
Taking the Gnar blind this early in the draft seems very, very risky for LNG. They will leave open things like the Zoe or maybe even the Alistar. Like, there's plenty of options here for Team WE to just capitalize on the fact that nothing was really denied. Yes, the Gnar is good and Breathe looked great on it, but we have seen it kind of be, forced down if it gets the right counter matchup.
Well, again, two champions that jump to mind, right, is the Camille, which does fine into it, and the Jace is a champion that we've seen bully out the Gnar so much here in the LPL, but WE going to stick to a standard front-to-back teamfight comp. We were just highlighting how Shanks is most played and most comfortable on that Orianna, and WE are going to go back to that pick.
Now we're going to go back onto the Orianna. Shanks able to get that one away from Icon. Does not need to go to the Zoe. I like Shanks on pretty much all the meta mages right now. Haven't seen him go anywhere too off meta, but so far has been solid on everything else. But Lilia locked in here for Tarzan. Now this gives him a little bit more, I suppose, in-game pace or acceleration if he wants to try and put pressure onto Beishamp.
I'd say it still depends a lot on what LNG do pick in the mid lane. Whenever you see Lilia, one of the first things that always jumps to my mind is something along the lines of a Lucian, having Lucian push in the mid lane. Then you are contesting the enemy Raptors, you're outpacing Graves, you have mixed damage for ganks, mixed damage for skirmishes. There'd be a lot of good things there if they do take a more aggressive mid laner along the lines of a Lucian.
Yeah, actually the word I was looking for was tempo. Tempo was the word I was looking for. But final bans coming in. The Zoe, the Azir banned away by Team WE, and as LNG banned away the Camille. They do not want that mirror matchup in the top side. Mikuya feeling like he doesn't really have as much of an advantage as maybe as he has on the Camille side. And then Leona as well. So with the Alistar locked in, I feel like this is better for Iwandi. It gives him a little bit more playmaking ability that he's not just relying around the ultimate like we saw him with the Rakan.
Definitely agree. So now LNG does have a solid front line coming out. So maybe someone just opted into having a mid lane mage to go along with that 5v5 team fighting aspect. Despite the fact that Lucian enables Lilia well, not the greatest lane matchup into the Orianna. On WE side, we do see the Graves coming, the Gangplank coming out, which is a fine matchup up against the Gnar, and then missing bringing out his set, which was so good in 2020.
Yep, set has been the very aggressive kind of answer to people who do end up going towards the Alistar. It's something that has worked very, very well. You can use his very big hitbox against him. You can poke him down very effectively as well. And the Gangplank, we saw Breathe on this Gangplank. He doesn't really do a lot in terms of engagement, but he just ends up getting 3 items out of nowhere and blows up backlines with those barrels. So still something to be respected. And for LNG, I like this composition that they've built for themselves. I like that they've gone with a little bit more like, Light, you're our carry. You're the one who are going to be focusing all the kind of resources into, and we're just going to try and keep you set up for success.
That's why I'm also interested to see what build Tarzan goes with, because on the surface, their composition does look very low damage, so you would think maybe they don't go towards the Moonstone build and maybe do just opt into going with the Liandry's Anguish, but again, it is a very durable comp. If you can keep it healing, maybe just having the one threat composition is enough. And we know LNG definitely believe in Light being able to carry the rest of the team on his shoulders, or you wouldn't have 2 games of Tristana played this split.
Yeah, kind of agree. I'm curious to see what build Tarzan does go with the Lilia. Of course, you're talking about the Moonlight, and of course the healing build. And of course, we've got the Night Harvester. the Night Harvester Dark Harvest build, so you got plenty of ways you can go with the Lilia, very versatile. And on the other side, Team WE, it's kind of a very similar situation that they were in the last game. It's a very standard front to back, like we said, vanilla team fight that will not necessarily win or lose in lanes, but just, you know, wants to scale up and get to those big 5v5s.
And this is what Team WE has more become this split. Sure, we've seen them play out different comps, like we talked about earlier, the 1-3-1, the 1-4, the poke, but they have indexed more into scaling than they did in 2020. You have Orianna, you have Kai'Sa, you have Gangplank. They definitely just want to farm out this early game. It's not too much about getting these early advantages. The ball is in LNG's court, which is going to be a nice breath of fresh air to see if they can actually do something this time around. I expect to see Tarzan trying to pair up more with Icon in the mid lane. At level 3, he should be able to start trading his HP for Prio, and then maybe making your way down towards that bottom side, especially with the fact that, you know, Galio has Predator this time around.
Yeah, the Galio Predator gets into position to be able to use the hero's entrance a hell of a lot faster and just kind of create those mismatched skirmishes either top or bot. Generally see it bot just because you have like an Alistar in that bot side. But I wanted to quickly ask you the Gnar debate, the Gnar discussion, if you will, and why certain people think it's good, well, certain regions think it's good and certain regions think it's bad. Why do you feel like it's falling into this nuance of, you know, good and bad throughout the world?
To me, I don't want to view him in that scope of good or bad. I think he's clunky would be the best way I could describe it. And I feel like the argument that I've seen the most is that there's a lot of other things that can do Gnar's job better. Like, he's not an exceptional team fighter. He's not an exceptional split pusher. He kind of does both jobs at about 50% as an engage is coming out.
Yeah, exhaust and heal has to be used by LNG, and missing, showing why this set is so damn powerful. We talked about how he's able to just use his presence to be able to push them back, and this is a great start for Team W. But yes, as you were saying,
he just feels clunky having to play around that rage bar, and the fact that you don't do any job exceptionally. Like, you win lane, you team fight good if you're mega, you have some side lane. So that's kind of where I'd put him. I think he's fine in the meta. I think it's an overreaction to say this champion is unplayable and shouldn't be picked. But I also don't necessarily think blind picking first rotation Gnar is really a thing that we should be seeing when there's so many other priority picks in this meta.
Yep, I feel like that's a great way to kind of summarize the whole setup down, and we can actually see Makuya having a bit of an issue up in this top side. You can see on the minimap and on the scoreboard, he's already down in CS. The wave is very much pushed right up into him, and with Tarzan having started top side, and I feel, oh, I might have to stop myself very much now as I get the Iwandi knocked back into the minions, and this is why set support's so oppressive. If he gets control over that bush, if he gets control over that, you know, area of the jungle, it's very difficult to see when he's going to go for it. You just go for Hex Flash after Hex Flash after Hex Flash.
W doing a good job of using their bot lane prio. You already highlighted set. Doesn't even need his own flash. He can just flash level 1 to gain that bot lane prio, and as missing... Ooh, finds it.
Oh, there we go. He finds it, but is it what he wants to find? His first blood goes over to Icon. Nicely set up there by the LNG mid laner. Flashes over with the shield of Duran, gets himself and his team the first blood.
A nice, just reactionary play coming out from LNG. The fact that Icon blast planted over the wall, I think, made it a bit awkward to where, obviously, sure, Jomung and Beishan can go in. Shanks won't be there, though, so they opt out. They do let Missing go down, and he does have another moment like last game. So, overall win for the side of LNG. I do want to go back to talking about the top lane matchup real quick, especially because we're back on it, that one of the easier things for it about GP is that your Q actually does outrange Gnar's auto. Gnar's range level 1 is only 400. He scales up to 500 at level 18. GP's Q is about like 650 or something along those lines. So very easy to actually harass Gnar in this matchup despite it being melee versus range. But as you can see from Breeze's mana bar, it does take a toll on the resources.
Yeah, you have to be constantly pushing. Does give him a bit of a free easy back so he can get himself a Sheen, which is only 700 gold with the new items. Was 1200, so it's definitely a lot cheaper of an item. As we see the Hex Flash, Light, does get knocked back with the Face Breaker, and they're seeing if they can get anything else going for them. There's the Haymaker. Iwandi with no real pressure onto him, but Light forced to respect Beishan, who flashes aggressively, gets Light's flash, and WE, their game plan is bot lane as they're just putting all resources into this Kai'Sa.
Still nice answer coming out from Tarzan, counter jungling on the top side of the map. Breathe even is getting pushed in under his turret. Sadly, Icon not close to 6, but yep, can't set up any kind of dive on that top side. Just going to kind of trade the bot lane pressure for a camp advantage in the jungle.
And that's good little movements there from Tarzan. Of course, you'll always take... if you were asked if you would give away Wolf Camp and get the 80 carries flash for 5 minutes, you're going to take the flash, your trade-off. That's just a guarantee. But good to see that Tarzan isn't letting these things or letting these small little happenings go for free. As I say that, we actually see the Predator being used by Icon up top side. Breed's in a little bit of trouble, but Makuya didn't really have the Rage Bar built up just yet. Now Beishong finds Icon. And they are going to try and see if they can take out this mid laner who has no flash. Flash burnt there by Breed to block up any escape with the Justice Punch, and they equal up the kills.
Yeah, nice play coming out from Beishong. It is pretty surprising. I don't think LNG expected it. Of course, they do know that Beishong's top camps are up, but maybe thinking he would path towards the bottom side and start playing for that dragon. But now Shank's working his way up as well. They might go for this dive.
Yeah, they might do it. They have got level 6 on Makuya, though, so they need to be very, very careful. The Cannon Barrage is there and is used. No level 6 for Shanks. And the Mega Gnar has just been hit, so he gets a nice little injection of health, and Makuya is able to stay alive. Yet to go back, as he's sitting on a fair bit of gold. The mid lane wave was pushed in, so Shanks will lose very little, if I'm being honest, and a lot of third plate gold goes to Breathe.
Still, you are losing out on tempo, on getting back on the map, as we do see Tarzan coming straight down. Maybe Beishong would have been better served this time after getting that initial kill, just heading towards bot side. Your camps are already up. You can set up vision. You could even look for the bottom lane gank, missing flashes back up, and transition that into a dragon. He could still do all the things I just said, but as you can see, Tarzan is now back on the map first.
Yep, on the map and looking to try and take away these Raptors. And this is something that we talk about in terms of Lilia, or in terms of even hard farming junglers, something that Clement Chu is very adamant about, is that it's not just good enough to be farming, because everyone's kind of a farming jungler right now. You need to be out farming and counter jungling your opposition jungler, and that's where this kind of toing and froing we see coming in as Beishong gets caught up by the shield of Duran. They flash in with Tarzan as well. He gets the Eep, watch out. The Shockwave perfectly placed on top of Beishong. Catches too, though. And Team WE are turning this one around. Beishong, how do you not die? The Acathian Rain. Oh, my lord. It's all gone wrong.
The teamwork there was so nice from WE, though. Like you said, beautiful Shockwave coming out from Shanks. Beishong then sidestepping the Swirl Seed, turns around, lands the auto. And it doesn't matter that LNG had the tempo advantage. Now WE are the ones who get the Ocean Drake.
That is a huge, huge play for Team WE, and I love that they didn't panic, they didn't give up, they knew they could get it going, because once Tarzan and Icon use their first rotation of spells, there's nothing left. Now you get the dragon, now you're able to reset on the map with a massive influx of gold back in your back pockets. This is huge.
It is amazing to see, and now they're going to start heading up towards the top side, because obviously the next objective is the Rift Herald. We already see Missing heading up. We'll get a replay of this once again. Icon goes in. Initially, they have a ton of bursts coming out. Beishong barely surviving. You are going to see the Orianna ball on him. Shockwave comes out, and pay attention to Beishong. Just kind of sidesteps the Swirl Seed. I don't think it was going to hit him anyway. Turns around, lands the auto, and then Icon just in an unfortunate position. And WE walk away with 2 kills.
There's a Beishong now who is well on his way to getting that Gale Force, which is a scary prospect. Not only do they get the dragon, it looks like they're going to be able to get priority over this Rift Herald as well. And this is where the tempo, the pacing, the agency that comes in, and we talk about so much, is that you have your bot lane on the map quicker than they have it on the opposition map. You have your jungler on the map quicker, and those little 20 seconds, 15 seconds even, can lead to an objective.
And the thing is, right, when we were looking at LNG's comp, it's very dependent on what Tarzan was going to do. We're thinking, hey, kind of knowing LPL, we thought he'd go a damage-oriented build with the Leandries. Him and Light are going to be the main carries. And he's getting set behind, and Beishong's only getting further ahead.
Not all doom and gloom. It is only about 1,000 gold lead for WE, and they might try and catch out Missing. Very difficult to do, especially when he has the showstopper. Gets himself out if in any need whatsoever. Light is a little bit ahead as well of Jomong. Actually probably be equaled out once these minions get taken down. But again, not doom and gloom. There are still opportunities, and this is a very different game to the last one, where your team comp has a lot more options available to it to try and make stuff happen.
Yeah, and something interesting to note is that this is a GP build that we've been seeing to kind of focus on top side of the map for a second. is that you go with the Essence Reaver because it still gives you the Spell Blade passive, which is still, you know, pretty good in early trades. But it allows you to go for the full crit build that I expect him to go with, which is actually going for the Immortal Shield Bow as your mythic. It gives you sustain, it gives you attack speed, which is something GP mains actually kind of like, because it allows you to auto-attack your barrels faster. And it gives you that nice shield and allows you for a pretty good makeup for of what like old Phantom Dancer used to be with that shield, and easily transitions into, you know, getting that full crit.
Bricon, he's not going to be doing a huge amount of damage, obviously, the way this game is kind of going, but he doesn't need to be. He just needs to be able to jump on top of people and CC them up for an absolute year, and that's kind of the plan right now. We talk about the full wombo combo, and the actual amount of engage from the side of LNG is actually pretty good. You're not just relying on a Mega Gnar, which we said is clunky, a little bit unreliable, a little bit kind of off-the-wall different sometimes, and that's not the issue right now for LNG. They've got the Lilia Lilting Lullaby. They have the Hero's Entrance. They, of course, have the Flash Pulverize from Iwandi on the Alistar. There are options here for LNG if they can find the moments to use them.
The thing is, they've been looking for them as well, right? We've seen Tarzan consistently invading the enemy jungle with Icon supporting him. The problem is they've all kind of flopped. We saw the first time it led to the 2 kills going over to Beishang. It was just kind of a bit sad, unfortunate. The damage was almost there. And then they tried doing it again in the bot side when Beishang was farming his Gromp, and Missing and Shanks are doing such a great job of hovering the red buff.
Much more eventful early game from both of these sides than we did see in the last one. However, we might see next real damage coming out into this dragon fight, which is just over a minute away. Looking down the items, you can see the Essence Reaver, which we mentioned before, onto Breathe. So they're going to be looking for the Gale Force, which has just been finished up by Beishang, and that's kind of where all these 80 carries and all these people are looking to get right now. Is get your first Mystic, get it onto all 4 of your members apart from the supports. Sorry, supports not on that salary, but you're moving towards that first big fight. And I feel like LNG will not want to let WE just take another second dragon for free.
They definitely won't. We already see Tarzan making his way towards that Sonny's Hourglass. It is something that we've seen is very common on Lily as a first item these days. It's obviously very cheap. It's also very good in this sense because he is, going up against Beishang, who is 2-0 and is actually ahead of him. So going to give him that survivability and also ability to be a bit of a primary engager and diver right alongside Icon and Iwandi. So 15 seconds up. We do have TP for Makuya, no TP for Breathe, but he does have the Cannon Barrage available.
Has the Cannon Barrage, so can be a nuisance. Breathe will have his TP up at about 30 seconds or so. Beishang gonna use the Rift Herald that he acquired earlier to try and create some pressure, but Tarzan and Icon are here, as is the wave, and it doesn't quite crash up just yet. Beishang just needs to edge it forward just a little bit.
Yep, does have to actually end up showing in mid, so this is potentially is going to cost some time. And LNG know what they're doing, right? You just said it. They're dropping down the Herald to try to create pressure. They're going to hover towards bot side. I might even expect to see Beishang pop his head bot to help Jomon get pressure, but with Iwandi backing off, it just does let Jomon get push, and Beishang's just going to start this one up.
Well, Icon jumping in on top of Shanks, lands the shield of Duran and gets him down to about half HP, but Tarzan got chunked out by the shockwave of Shanks, so Shanks doing a very good job in the mid lane to make sure there is absolutely no question whatsoever over this second Drake. We will have another Infernal Soul popping up onto our Rift, and now Icon has Flash. Cannon Barrage does go down. They have got another way to follow him up, and Shanks will take that kill. Absolutely no problems whatsoever. Tarzan will get a blue. Will he trade a red, or will this be Beishang just overstepping himself a little bit? He has not got Flash available for him. Lilting Lullaby is down. There's not a huge amount of mana here either. The TP coming in. Beishang solo will be dropped down. Breathe is here, but just a little bit too late. And now he has to exit stage right if he wants to try and keep himself alive. He should be able to get out, no problems really whatsoever. But a little bit of a mistake there from WE, and LNG nicely punish it very hard.
I think both teams actually ended up making mistakes, Penguin. Initially, Icon going for that trade onto Shanks, I don't think made much sense. You know that WE are going to go for the bottom side Drake. As I pause.
Yeah, we're seeing the bot side. Jomon gets exhausted. The feathers do go flying. He can't rip them back just yet, though, as Missing is there to able to stop them all. But, wow, a lot of teleports used towards this bot side, but they will only be able to get a turret from it. They shouldn't be able to get any more kills.
And okay, you just use double TP, you force the play, you throw an exhaust. You only get heal from the AD carry and flash from Set, and we all know Set doesn't need flash, so LNG just throwing so much at such a potential small play. And this goes back to the point I was making before. LNG knew that W were going for Dragon. We actually saw that Mikuya's Rage Bar was almost all the way up, and Tarzan was invading the top side of the jungle. I'm not quite sure why LNG didn't just call to dive, breathe, when Icon was full HP and also had his ultimate. His first mistake was getting caught out there. But then Beishang, you know, wanting to be a gambling, greedy man, does go into the enemy jungle and gift it right back. So I guess it isn't too bad. But overall, 2 games in a row where it feels like WE is solidly in control.
Yeah, I like the idea from Light, specifically down the bot side. They recognized that the Gale Force was finished up for the Xayah. They did not have the Kraken Slayer at the time of the play for the Kai'Sa, so they maybe felt like they had a way of bursting him down. But without that, you've invested 2 global teleports to try and get it. It didn't really come out with much at all. You will now take down that turret, but with Mikuya on the bot side, that means that this Rift Herald is almost certainly going over to the side of Team WE. And that is, again, 4 objectives in a row. The 2 Dragons and the 2 Rift Heralds picked up here by Team WE in the early game.
Beishang going to be able to place this one down. Maybe even at some point just going to throw it down mid, since you did already drop your first one there. You would think that this Herald should be able to break open that turret. Shanks playing a bit of weak side right now, just catching waves, as Breathe is actually going to have a fine time in the side lane against either of these champions. Doesn't matter whether it is Gnar or Icon. He will have pressure. And as we pointed out, he's GP. He's just chilling. He's building towards that Immortal Shield bow that we expected. And WE are kind of in a fine place with this one.
Yeah, you can't really be too unhappy with Team WE right now, as Iwandi finds Beishang and didn't know whether or not Jomong was there, but rightfully backs himself away. We actually see 2 early Zhonya's picked up. No mythics for either Tarzan or Icon. They actually go with the defensive move here, and this can be a big 5-head move, or it can put you very far behind. Mythics are very expensive.
Yeah, it is a bit surprising for Icon. This is the usual move for the Lilia. Again, it is pretty good with the fact that Graves is getting ahead. There's a Kai'Sa on the opposite side, the GP, but I'm more curious that we do see Tarzan with the winged moon plates. Because, again, that means he's, again, not going to go for a second a mythic item as a second item either.
Yeah, it's an interesting kind of setup that he's got. He's also got the Dark Harvest, so he's not going towards the Night Harvester with that one either. So I'm curious to see where this build goes. And, you know, it could be, again, God tier, absolutely crazy, but we'll have to wait and see how that does end up panning out. Having a look at the game, it's still only about a 700, 600 gold lead in favor of Team WE. It's not a million miles away, but again and again, we're seeing the big problem that the side of LNG have to deal with is if you give up this dragon, which is spawning in just over 30 seconds, you're now facing a guaranteed fight over soul that you have to win. There is no if, buts, or maybes, and that's going to kind of limit you in what you can make and what you can play.
And the thing is, WE would have a way to force tempo again if they wanted to and drop this Herald. It actually looks like WE are just going to consciously give up the Drake, though, and go for this topside play.
Yeah, it looks like they're going for it. They do have Mikuya down. The Rift Herald will be dropped, and that should actually just take down the turret. So Mikuya, not really in the safest of positions, just throw a house in desperation. They kill him off, and they are giving away that dragon just to try and get some more gold in their pockets.
I'll be honest, I don't even necessarily think they would need to make this trade. Sure, we talked about, hey, you know, LNG's comp is a bit stronger early. WE clearly just wanted to scale, but I definitely think they could have gone toe-to-toe with what LNG have put together, but it seems like instead they're like, hey, let's get some more items onto both our Graves and Orianna. I mean, you're getting global gold as a team as a whole. No one's missing out on EXP. You do scale, so I could at least empathize and understand with the decisions WE are making.
Yeah, it feels like maybe they didn't want to even risk the fact that they might lose a dragon fight. There is, as we've mentioned many times, a lot of ways for LNG to make things happen. Just like this, Jomong forced to flash away from that swirl seed, but not giving them an option. They gained themselves a lot of gold in the back pocket. Now what was an 800 gold lead is now about a 2,500 gold lead in favor, sorry, just about 2,000 gold lead for Team WE. So they're making sure that, as you say, they have the items. They're not taking anything to chance, and they know that LNG's not stacking dragons as of yet.
True, but you know, this is the LPL, Penguin. We love risk. We want to see risk absolutely everywhere, but you know, maybe getting some items on, you know, Orianna GP. That's acceptable, I guess. But we're just gonna see.
Risk lost us the world championship, man. That's all I'm saying.
Yes,
all right, we did not get the right moves. We did not take the right risks.
That is true. That is 100% true. But you know, we're gonna just see WWE default to catching waves on sides. We might start seeing teams drop this vision around the Baron side. I think both teams actually have a reasonable Baron time, so both teams need to be afraid of the potential sneak. So that is why we see both supports heading up to the topside river right now.
Yeah, we see everyone just kind of fanning out, gaining as much vision control as they possibly can. See both supports, like you just mentioned, hovering towards their, you know, AD carries and their junglers, but again, not likely to see many things happening over the next little few minutes. We probably wait until 3 minutes and that Infernal Drake does spawn. That's where TWE, I feel, will look to try and start putting that clock back onto their favor and say, right now we have a timer for this. And yeah, with all 5 people from TWE mid, they're going to look to try and take themselves this, you know, second outer turret.
Yes, but more importantly, Penguin, we know what Tarzan's going for. He is going for the Moonstone build. He's picked up the components for that. So that's the question I've been asking myself for the past 5 minutes. Is Mikuya doesn't get caught out, luckily.
Ooh, doesn't get caught out, but barely. Facebreaker was there, just barely scraped him across his knees. This is where Team WE feel like they're feeling a little stronger. LNG trying to contest them with his vision, and Shockwave lands onto Light and the Cannon Barrage with every ultimate thrown at this AD carry. What's he to do? He's just gone.
And you know the worst part, Penguin? Now that we know it's Moonstone Lilia, Light is the comp. Light is absolutely everything for the side of LNG. If they don't even need to get close to him to burst him out, I don't know what LNG are supposed to do. Look at him. He's scratching his head. What could the man do against that?
You have no way. He healed. He didn't have time to flash. He was just basically killed. They threw so many ultimates at him. There was nowhere for him to go at that stage. And as you said, like with this being a light carry composition, with them being reliant on this Xayah, if that happens, you don't have damage. You don't have a way of burning through these health bars on the side of LNG.
I'm so happy we get a replay. So ulti. Okay, GP ult
they just
and
threw
collateral.
everything.
Yeah, they just threw every ranged ability they possibly could, and he's just gone.
Great opportunistic moment there from Shanks, recognizing that the ball was perfectly placed to bring Light in. They were able to throw down all of it. And this is the thing. The Dragon's not up for a minute 20. You're going to have all those ultimates back up. In fact, they're almost all up now. So it doesn't matter that you used all of them onto one pick, because there's no objective. Nothing LNG could really force off of that. And again, great play coming out here from Team WE. Iwandi taking down to just above half HP as he tries to contest some vision up in this top side. And I appreciate him trying to go for it, but you do not own this river right now. You cannot walk up. You need a buddy system. You need to be holding hands with your jungler if you want to be trying to go for those kind of wards.
You know, I just want to say, if the whole comp is going to do that every time, Orianna ult, GP ult, Graves ult, and just burst out Light, I would have loved for him to just go AP, GP, and just all in on your ultimate and be useless in every other aspect. Would it be optimal? Probably not. Would it be pretty funny to watch?
Fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all we're 9 times out of 10 for regular season. We just want entertainment. We want to see, you know, dragon steals. We want drama. But sadly, we're not going to get it. We're going to get our very bog standard, you know, crit gangplank who will just blow up backlines with 2 or 3 barrels. It's not going to be as fun as the ultimate blowing them up as Iwandi goes in, trying to see if he can catch somebody out. Mikuya will have his Mega Gnar just about. Shanks, though, will be saved by missing. They do drop down the Cannon Barrage, and they keep peppering him down. He's forced to flash away. There is Jomong jumping straight in on top of Light, and that's a fantastic engage here from Iwandi. Gets on top of all 5 members as the fight kind of re-engages. Icon goes golden, keeps himself alive. The feathers fly backwards, but it catch nobody out. It's actually a trade of support for mid laner. Two-man Shockwave, and that's the go button. Fantastic move from Shanks. He courts them in and takes them down. Iwandi, it's a quadra kill for Beishong, and in the final man, the final person to potentially be taken down is going to be Tarzan, but he's a fast little deer. He's going to be a long way away for him to be taken down. You can see Beishong, he wanted the penta, but he's given it up. He'll take the quadra, and they'll back themselves to the Baron.
First of all, that is totally BM from Tarzan. You just need to give that over, but that engage looked so good for LNG starting off with. You said it, Iwandi found the perfect angle but Shanks with such a beautiful shockwave. It hit 3 or 4 men, it lines up perfectly for Beishang to get all of those kills. You're on soul point now. You're going to have a massive gold advantage. Let's go into the replay because I actually didn't like how WE used so much on Mikuya to start off with. 2 ultimates, Jomung going in as well. Sure, you do bait out Tarzan's Flesh, but beautiful 5-man pulverize coming out from Iwandi. We see Icon following up, but keep your eyes on this Orianna ball. Sure, Icon goes down, but it's going to be right about here, hitting 2 key members, lining it up perfectly for that Graves. He just has so much mobility, goes forward, and they take down Iwandi as well in the end.
That was so good.
Look at that damage!
And like, yeah, I was actually just noticing, you can see Light in that fight, he actually gets about 3 auto attacks off and then uses his ultimate offensively to try and get some kind of a drawback, catch people out so he can move forward. And this is why we tend to see people, you know, maybe questioning the Xayah picks, because it is, again, like we've said multiple times, a very short-ranged AD carry. You have to be in the thick of it in order to make these things work. And for LNG, it just didn't, unfortunately, for them.
Well, the weirdest part is that at first, LPL, as much as Iwandi finds engage.
Missing, turning it around, though. They have got the TP coming in. They are going to jump straight on top of Breeze with the Galio ultimate as well, but he is just so hard to kill. Shockwave only land on the Tarzan. You can see they're trying to move forward. They will trade the top laner for support, so this is still good for the side of LNG. They still have the damage, but there's still a Beishang and there's still a Shanks. You have to respect it.
True. Still, like you pointed out, a 1-for-1 is actually fine for the side of LNG, who are behind, and support for top laner is always worth it. The bad thing is they are losing side lane gold right now in both bot and top lane, so WE can just fast track to mid, potentially push down this turret, and LNG just lost a bunch of passive gold on side lanes. Oh.
But they are going to look for the engage off the back end of this. The TP comes in, double TP. It's Mikuya and Icon. This is the play to bring them back into this. Shield of Duran does land on the Jomung, and he will be sacrificed to the LNG gods. Baron is up. You still have Beishang, and they have just about gotten the cooldown, or the death cooldown off of Breathe. He has no Cannon Barrage just yet, but do LNG go for this? It's a bit of a risky play.
I do think LNG should go for it. You have the numbers advantage. Jomung isn't up anytime soon. This is the best play you can hope for. You are already 7k gold behind.
You're 7k gold. This is the Hail Mary. You're throwing it downfield. Do you get that 80-yard touchdown pass, or do you fall flat on your face? I'll have to wait and see. Baron, 3,500 HP. Beishang finds himself at the back of the pit. He goes in. He's going to be able to... Oh, he steals it! And he gets the kill! There's 2 straight off the back, and Beishang is just a monster. A triple for him. And they Baron steal to boot. Beishang says, Tarzan, welcome to the LPL.
Penguin, what could you do when he had 8 kills? He has so much damage. Goes in, takes the Baron, takes the kills. They're just going to be able to start pushing here. And they might be able to get 1, possibly 2 inhibitors.
What a fantastic play, and they've got such pressure everywhere. You talked about the side lanes. We talked about it just before that Baron went down. You haven't got side lane pressure, and not only are you going to lose the Baron, not only are you going to lose all those kills, but your base is broken as well. Minute and 20 seconds until this Infernal Soul is available, but let's have a look. Goes in, just gets a straight-up smite fight.
Yeah, just... like you said, really nice smite coming out from him, then has the damage. He combos in with missing as well. And we knew that the side of WE had so much burst damage if they can find it. Also, I got a bit too high feet. We did not get 2 inhibitors like I had hoped. But hey, we got an inhibitor turret. We get control of the map. And now Vision is coming out. The question is, for LNG, what could... Oh god, Icon. Oh god, Icon.
He's dead. He's dead. That magic damage shield will do you no favors here, my dude. We'll go to the Zanya state, but that'll only delay the inevitable. Flashes as well. You gotta respect an effort, but it's just too much. It's too far gone. LNG are thoroughly routed right now by Team WE. And Team WE, it's not as if like you can even rely on scaling on the side of LNG. Gangplank's still gonna destroy you. He's got 3 items now with a crit cloak on the back pocket as well. You just can't do anything.
And I love this GP build. Again, you do so much damage, so much survivability, you're right. He still hits like a truck. And now they're going to get Soul for free as well because Icon actually spawns after that Drake and has no TP.
No TP. We're going to see the showstopper starting off the fight. They're going to drop in the cannon barrage as well. They're forcing everything out of light, and this fight has only just begun. See, Beishang, he's feeling it. He was. Or Jomung even feeling it, but Beishang is the one who picks up the kill. They're playing with their food now, Lyric. They're just pushing in with these inhibitors. They know they've got everything in their favor, and this is going to be easy peasy for the side of Team WE. It's all about patent stats.
True, but I actually don't know if they go for this one. You do have low health bars, and Mikuya's Mega is about to come up. Penguin, this could be a bit risky.
It's a little risky that Mikuya Meganar does end up popping in. The Martyr is going to turn back onto this inhibitor. So that's 2 inhibitors down. Baron buff still going for another 20 seconds, but only 20 seconds. They backed themselves away. They wanted to try and end, but it's just too risky with Mikuya sitting there. And Shanks, his back has been stopped. They're going to go straight for the dragon. Actually curious to see if LNG can do anything about this. You can see Mikuya kind of making a beeline for it because they probably think that Beishang's the only one on it.
Well, that's the thing is WE wasted so much tempo looking for the end right there. Luckily, Beishang does have the smite.
Well, he had the Baron steal. I don't think he was going to lose it in a non-smite versus smite matchup, but now Mikuya, he has Meganar coming up very shortly, so could still maybe look for a turnaround. The mid lane is being pushed in, and Icon is taken out. They do use the Graves ultimate as well, but Iwandi nowhere to go. Yes, you get a great Gnar ultimate, but where are you going? Where are you going to leave? You got nowhere to go. You're just being hopped and bopped around the place. Shanks picks him up. It is 21 kills to 6. It is a 14,000 gold lead, or just under it. And this game is pretty much done.
And it was nice to see the 2 members who didn't need to step up in game 1 stepping up this game. And you're right, Penguin.
Yeah.
They're just deleted.
It's over. It is deleted. The LNG were no match for Team WE, who go 5-0 at the start of the split, cementing themselves as a top team in spring.
Just great performance overall. Game 1, we saw the likes of Breathe and Jomung step up and carry. This time around, it was a story of both Beishang and Shanks. Shanks, that one team fight with that ultimate, just the amount of damage he was able to dish out was exceptional. The play in mid lane, where Light didn't even have a chance. Just suddenly all the ultis are popped and he's gone. And then Beishang just continuously following up on the kills. It is so fun to watch Gale Force Graves with the triple dash. And WE very deservingly, currently at least, the best team in LPL until they drop a series.
Yeah, they've nearly played 1/3 of their series. Almost, like, literally just under 1/3 of their